Hello everyone. This is my first ever podcast, or whatever you want to call it. It's not a podcast, but who cares? Today I wanted to talk to you about extreme emotions. Well, not too extreme, but okay. I just finished reading, or actually listening, to the Harry Potter audiobooks by Stephen Fry. Let me just say, this is probably the 20th time I've ever read the books, but the second time to have read them in English, because I am Dutch. But since I've read the Dutch books, it's a long time ago, and now I'm afraid I don't really remember all the Dutch names, so that's a pity. I know a lot of them. Okay, so Harry Potter is just Harry Potter. Hermione Granger is Hermeline Griffel. And Ron Weasley is Ron Wemel. And if you consider Weasley, it sounds like weasel. And weasel in Dutch is wezel. So I think like Wemel, Wezel, Weasley, weasel. Yeah, anyway. Dumbledore, Perkamentus. Perkament is parchment. So I don't know why they... I mean, Dumbledore is an old English word for bumblebee. And in Dutch is just parchmentus. Parchmentus. Oh well. Yeah, anyway. I wanted to talk about... Well, I mean, I've read them so many times, and it's been so long since I last read them that I don't remember how I felt about them back then. I mean, I remember being completely obsessed, of course, with the books and the movies and the games as well. I must have played the first game, like 30 times, 40, 50 times. I remember once playing it twice in the same day. I mean, completely from beginning to end, twice. Yeah, okay. I was a Harry Potter nerd. I loved it so much. And then I don't know, I didn't read it for years, and I didn't feel like I was a fan anymore, and I guess I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember what the books said specifically, so I didn't even... When I rewatched the movies, I didn't even see that they are so completely different, because I had forgotten all of the details from the books. And even though I'd read them 10 times, but anyway. But a couple of years ago, I asked for a time turner necklace for my birthday, which I still have, but I don't know, I just forgot about the world of Harry Potter, and I occasionally watched a movie with somebody else, but it just wasn't like it used to be. And then recently I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna listen to the audiobooks, because when you listen to an audiobook you can do some cooking at the same time, do some cleaning, the boring household chores will be made so much more fun when you have an audiobook. So I started, and I was kind of scared that I would think the series is childish, but of course I couldn't have been more wrong. I don't think the series is childish at all, and I just finished the 7th book yesterday, and now I am emotionally broken somewhat, because I the things the books have made me feel are feelings that I didn't have last time I read the books. I think I became an adult in the meantime. When did that happen? I'm 20 years old now, and I don't know. I read or I heard things that I wouldn't have understood last time I read books. And just reading them again made me realize how deep the books go. And now I just feel like my heart is 3 times as big as it's supposed to be. You know, that feeling that I am my feelings. There's nothing else but my feelings and my broken heart, because the books, I finished them and so many people die, and just the compassion that I have with Harry, which is much more than when you watch the movies, because you can't hear what he's thinking. And I mean, he's an incredibly deep person, you know, and you can't see that in the movies at all. And I don't know, I just feel grief for the characters who died, for the characters who have suffered, and the fact that the books are finished now. And I recently watched all the movies, and some of them twice, and well, I mean, I watched them alone and then with my friends, so yeah. And just the feeling that I won't be able to return to that world for a long time, because I can't just start over again, because that would feel too pointless, I don't know. And I don't know, it's just, the grief is pretty big. It's weird because it's supposed to be a children's story, and it's really not, I think, because as I said, I realized that there are things written down. They are written down by a grown woman who has been through a lot of stuff, and it doesn't limit to the minds of children at all. And there are things that I didn't understand when I was younger and that I do understand now, or things that I couldn't relate to back then and I do now. And now, well, I mean, being this feeling is, on the one hand, it's pretty terrible, because, you know, you are only your feeling, and I am supposed to write a 2,000-word essay in the next 2 days, and after that I've got a pretty big exam, and I'm not really able to concentrate, maybe after this, but it's pretty hard, because I listened to the books for hours a day. Every time I made breakfast, lunch and dinner, every time I did the dishes, every time I, you know, cleaned my room, because I live on my own, but in a student room, and every time before I went to bed. And so I was part of that world so intensely that I felt for a moment that was where I really was. So things in the real world just shortly didn't matter as much as the Harry Potter world, and I've never had that experience with other books ever at all. But anyway, yeah. But on the other hand, it's a pretty nice feeling because it reminds me that I can feel quite deep feelings. It reminds me that I'm pretty much alive. It reminds me that I can be passionate about things. And it also reminds me that there are people in this world who can create, just by writing stuff down, can create so much. And can make people relate and feel and cry and laugh and yeah. I mean, it's if you read all of the books in one go in like, what was it, 2 weeks, it's a pretty intense experience, and I just can't imagine that one person can write all of that stuff down. Well, I mean, she did. It took her about 15 years or something, and she did 5 years of preparation before she even started writing, but still, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty extraordinary. And yeah, I really did not expect it to have such a profound influence on me again, even though I'm pretty much somewhat of an adult now. And I don't know, I'm grateful for it because I rekindled, or how do you say it? English is not my first language, guys. I'm Dutch. I how do I say it? I'm just glad that I can now be part of the Harry Potter world again, like I was when I was a child, and it's a beautiful thing. And if anybody ever says that Harry Potter is for children, you just tell them to read the books again. And just open their minds to everything that is written down, because, like I said, it was written down by a grown woman, and all of her life's experiences and everything she'd learned up to that point, it's there. I guess I'll keep it somewhat short because I still have to write that essay. I'm going to write about the Eurovision Song Festival. Because, it's weird, but the Eurovision Song Contest is you can study it, and it's a pretty huge thing. You can study its sociology, its politics, its fans, its music, its whatever. It's huge. You could probably go to the Eurovision Song Contest school for 4 years and become an expert. It's ridiculous. So I'm gonna try and write an essay on that. 2,000 words. That's 1,000 words a day. That's great. So I'm gonna. Hopefully that will work. So maybe that will be my next subject. I wonder. Yeah, this is my first. I don't know yet what I will call it. I mean, I know I put it up on YouTube, and it's essentially YouTube is made for videos, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm just interested in talking, and you don't need a face. You don't need to see someone talking. You can just listen to this and do your dishes. But it's technically not a radio show, it's technically not a podcast, it's just a YouTube video with only the audio. So I don't know yet what I'm going to call this, but we'll see. Maybe I'll think of something before I upload it and I put it in the title, or I even have to make a channel. So maybe I'll put it in the channel name, I don't know yet. Anyway, this was my first whatever this is. And I will talk to you in the next one. goodbye.